What's up, plant family? Devin is here, and in this video I'm going to take a deep dive looking at the genus Ilex, or the holly genus. For me, here in my garden in Chester County, Pennsylvania, Zone 6B, I've got lots of deer, we have pretty cold winters, and the genus Ilex has been a wonderful addition to my garden as they tend to be quite deer resistant. Many of them provide evergreen foliage all year round, which in the midst of winter looks fantastic. Others which are deciduous, but many of them also provide beautiful berries, whether they're red, orange, dark purple, even black. So in this video, we're going to take a deep dive looking at the genus Ilex together. So first up on the list would be the Ilex crenata. This is also known as the Boxwood Ilex, the Boxwood Holly. And this is native to Japan, China, and it's called the Boxwood Holly because it has boxwood-like foliage. It stays evergreen. These ones are great for creating screens, for creating hedging. They have a very nice uniform habit, some which stay quite rounded, others which have a little bit more pyramidal conical shape. I have just planted two called steeds near my deck as kind of a screen to hide the area underneath the deck. So these are gonna stay evergreen, and once they've filled out this area, they will definitely keep the underside of my deck out of vision, which is exactly why I've planted them. Now, many holly, including these Ilex crenata, are what is called dioecious, meaning there is both a male version and a female version, and you need both of them in order to produce the berries that you may have purchased your hollies for, including my steeds, which can produce berries, but only if I have both male and female. And I'm gonna get into that here in a little bit. But best of all, they're great for handling heavy clay, which I have quite a bit of. So next on the list is another evergreen rounded foliage style of holly, and that would be the Ilex glabra, now also known as the Inkberry. Now this is very similar to the Ilex crenata, but the main key difference is that it is native to North America, and so I've planted a lot of these around my garden, including as a boxwood substitute around my beautiful rose garden. Many gardeners these days have switched from boxwoods to Ilex glabra because they don't have those same boxwood blights that have been kind of destroying a lot of boxwoods recently. These stay free and clear of those blights and continue to look beautiful all year round. These are a little bit less dense than the Ilex crenata. They have a little bit more natural energy about them, and I find that to be very inviting, a beautiful, low-key energy, very easy to grow. And these also handle a wide variety of different sun exposures. I have them in the full sun. They'll do great all the way to the part shade, variable soil conditions, including clay and sand, hardy down to zone 4, and there's a variety of different cultivars, some which stay quite small, like mine, which I have called gem box. It only gets about 3 feet tall and wide. Other cultivars which will get as tall as 10 feet. Now, Ilex glabra is also dioecious, meaning you need the male and female. And in order for me to get the beautiful little purple berries on my gem box, I need a male plant. So let's do a quick aside, a little bit of a review. So dioecious means that there's both male and female plants. You need to have both in order to produce the berries on the female plant. Essentially, in the springtime, both the male and female will produce flowers. The bees or whatever pollinators will go from the male, bring the pollen to the female, and that will allow the female to produce the beautiful berries. Now the problem is that when you go to nurseries, you're typically only going to find the female versions because those are the showy versions. Those are the ones that produce the berries, and so those have a better product to sell, so to speak. So when you go to your nurseries and you find one that you like, there's a couple things that you need to do. So I bought these Ilex crenata steeds. I came home, I did a search. Is Ilex crenata steeds a male or female Ilex? It's a female. So then I search, what is a male Ilex crenata? And then it gives me a few different tips, a few different cultivar names. Now this is where the tricky part can take place. You need to go to a reputable nursery, a good nursery that you've been to, where you can find a nurseryman, someone that works there, perhaps even someone that does the purchasing there, and you can ask them, I need a special order, I need this male Ilex glabra, I need this male Ilex crenata, and they will special order for you. That is really what you need to do in order to get both sexes, because so many nurseries just don't sell the male versions, and it's a real problem. But the good news is that you really only need one male for every like 4 to 5 female hollies that you might be planting, and you do need to plant them sort of close, about 50 feet or so apart is a general rule of thumb, and that's really what you can do to ensure that you get those beautiful red berries in the holiday season, in the winter season, and provide that gorgeous winter interest that looks great and also provides berries for the birds. So, all right, so next is the Ilex meservae, which has the classic holly look, the spiky foliage that the deer really tend to stay away from, and the classic red berries. It's also called the blue holly because the tint of the foliage is a little bit more blue than some other hollies out there, which makes it very unique. There's tons of different cultivars, some which get quite large, others which stay a little bit more compact. These are a beautiful evergreen that are going to create a nice privacy hedge as they grow and mature. I've planted one along the edge of my yard, which will hopefully block the sight of my neighbor's driveway in time. These are also dioecious. Now this one that I had planted is the blue princess. I'm still locating a blue prince so that I can have both that male and female. Now these plants, if you do live in the south with really hot summers, make sure you plant it in an area with afternoon shade. These typically do well between zones 5 and 8. All right, so next would be the Ilex aquifolium. This is the English holly, the Christmas holly. This is the holly that is used to make decorations across Europe during the holiday season. And this is really the truly the first big guy holly on our list. While it is only hardy to zone 7 and does well to zone 9, that does kind of leave it out of a lot of gardeners' opportunity here in the United States. If you're viewing from North America, I'll have a nice winter hardy big guy here in a minute. But this is one of the most beautiful hollies with that classic pyramidal shape. When these plants are in the winter time, they have a look that really says holiday season with tons of beautiful red berries. Now these can easily get 50 feet tall and 25 feet wide, so if you do fall within that zone 7 to 9, make sure you give this lots of space to grow and mature, because when scrunched into too small of an area, it's not going to look its best and it's not going to do its best. Give it room to grow and to thrive. Now, aquifolium means spiky because the leaves, the foliage is of course quite spiky and will definitely disrupt your pleasant feeling in your arms if you rub up against it, but it keeps the deer away for sure. And they will even produce fragrant white flowers in the springtime. This is also dioecious, male and female. Unfortunately, here in North America, it has been added to the invasive species list over in the Pacific Northwest, where they just tend to grow a little bit too well. So if you're in that area, maybe stay away. Stick to a different holly that you might find on this list. Now I have this wonderful variegated version, and it was here when I moved into my home, and I love it because it does hide away the underside of my deck, but it is scrunched in too small of a location for what it really wants to grow into, so I'm constantly cutting it back, but that's okay. Most of the hollies on this list will do very well with a regular pruning, which means you can really just kind of keep it the shape that you like. Now, the American version of the Christmas holly would be called the Ilex opaca. Now, as you can see, this one also gets enormous. I saw this beautiful mature tree at Longwood Gardens, and it was like 80 feet tall. And I love this one. Now, this is native to North America. They also get huge. Now, and here in North America, this is the one that we use for our Christmas decorations, which with its deep, rich, dark green foliage and red berries. This one is also very deer resistant, which is great, and it will do well from the full sun all the way to a rather shadier location. So, and there's even some cultivars that will produce orange berries, which I think is really unique, really fun and cool, a little bit of a twist. Now these are hardy from zone 5 to 9, and if you are planting that straight species, like we saw earlier, you really need to give it a lot of space to grow, but you can also plant them as an understory shrub, and it will absolutely stay smaller, and it will create a really nice layered effect in your deciduous forest, for example, having those pockets of rich evergreen foliage in the winter time is delightful, and it's something that I plan to do more and more here at my garden. While these are dioecious, there is actually one cultivar called Clarendon, which is a cultivar that doesn't need a male in order to set berries. So that's something to think about. All right, so now we've arrived at our first deciduous holly, and that would be Ilex verticilata. This is also native to North America. And this makes a beautiful, low maintenance, small tree, which produces an incredible amount of berries in the winter season. Whatever it loses for not holding on to foliage in the wintertime, it makes up by producing these incredible clusters of berries. And you'll just have these stems that are just laden with berries over the entirety of those stems. It is a true sight to behold during the winter season. And these are incredibly winter hardy, zones 3 to 9, and the quantity of berries makes them a huge boon for wildlife in your area as well. Now these will also do great in your full sun or as an understory tree beneath the shade of some of your larger deciduous trees as well. Some of the most popular cultivars that are female include winter red and winter gold, and a couple very popular male cultivars would be Jim Dandy and Southern Gentleman. All right, so another one that I think is an incredible holly is the Ilex pedunculosa. Pedunculosa refers to the fact that they produce these rather long peduncles, which is basically the berries are attached to the stems via a peduncle, and they're quite long on this plant, which means the berries are in clusters like drooping, and they have this kind of drooping effect with the berries, and it's really cool. These plants will grow into smallish, medium-sized trees. They are evergreen, but they don't have spiky foliage. It was named the 2013 Holly of the Year for the fact that it is just a wonderful specimen when these become a matured plant. A little bit harder to find, but well worth the effort. And last but not least, I wanted to just mention a few great cultivars and hybrids that are very popular. Now the first would be the holly Burfod and dwarf Burfod, which are like rounded shrubs with rounded evergreen foliage, and these do not need male in order to produce berries, so that is really great. And then next would be Nellie Stevens. This is one of the most popular hollies out there for southern gardeners because it really handles the summertime heat better than many other evergreen hollies. It also handles heavy clay with ease. And lastly would be a cultivar called Oakleaf. Now it's called Oakleaf because its foliage, it looks quite holly-esque, but it is said to resemble even more closely to the foliage of a scarlet oak tree. And they have these beautiful little kind of whitish margins around the sides of the foliage, which give it just a little bit of a lighter appearance about it. And it has a really dense, wonderful pyramidal shape, which will incorporate itself very easily into your garden. And with that, now we've had our little deep dive into the world of hollies and ilex. I hope this, if you are interested in adding some to your garden, maybe this will help to narrow down your research to give you some good ideas on hollies that you might be interested in adding to your garden. If you have some that you absolutely love to grow, make sure you add those ideas and those cultivars into the comment section below. Anyways, thank you guys for joining me here on Plant Vibrations with me, Devin Wallien. I'll catch you guys soon. Ciao.